You've probably have seen Lord Voldemort's video, you have probably seen Death Game's video, and now you have to watch my take on the buffs and nerfs of Kranvagn and AMX M4. I'm going to spare you all the details because you most likely already know them. You will see the stats over here, and I quickly just wanna brush over them and give you my personal thoughts and prayers on what is going on. But before we do that, I wanna quickly discuss something which probably will come in every single video when it is about buffs and nerfs. First, amazing that Wargaming is finally doing something again. It's sad that it took almost a year or more than a year, but they do, so that's good. It's good to see they also have made a little roadmap of other things they want to change, so that is okay. Second, yes, Chieftain 279 still needs nerf. Yes, Chieftain is not coming this summer campaign. A nice little middle finger from Wargaming to you, which wants to get the Chieftain. In any case, Wargaming should nerf the Chieftain in the 279, but for some reason they still don't want to, because they fear backlash of the community for the people which already have them. But we've discussed that. Now, Kranvagn, Emil, they get nerfs to top speed and reverse speed, nerfs to accuracy, accuracy on the move, and reload time. Meaning they are attacking all the main things which are a little bit of an issue with the Kranvagn. And that is okay. However, it kind of glosses over the main issue we're having right now, and you might have already seen the meme on Reddit about the Kranvagn basically becoming the Turnwagen, the Bofors Turnwagen. Which kind of is true, because like in the end, the biggest and main issue of the Kranvagn is it couples great burst with great DPM, with great mobility, and an unpennable turret with microscopic small cupola. Seriously, they are smaller than my penis. It's ridiculous if you imagine it. The thing is, and that is the annoying part, Wargaming, I understand that the mobility go down, that's okay. I am a little bit iffy about the accuracy on the move values and the accuracy in general, because, again, making a tank frustrating to play doesn't really solve the issue about it having a major flaw, and that is the fact that it goes full down and wins, you know? Nobody really can penetrate you, especially if you decide to put your nose up and your gun up and you hide your cupolas. This is the main issue with the Kranvagn. It's basically just, oh, roll dice, get lucky, hit something. So, that is why I think Wargaming should probably leave the buffs, the nerfs to the mobility and the nerf to the reload speed, but remove the gun dispersion values nerfs, because again, it makes it frustrating to play. However, I would suggest that Wargaming ups the reload time in between the shots from 2.75 seconds to 3 seconds, or maybe even 3.25, as well as Wargaming should consider giving the Kranvagn a new weak spot. As you know, the Kranvagn basically has this turret shield, and the whole turret assembly is the thing which goes wiggle wiggle, you know, with the cupolas, with the autoloader technically in the back, and the gun assembly. This is what is on the rotatable or wiggle stuff. Underneath the gun, you have not a double chin like I do, but you have this space, this plot, this thingy, which is 380mm thick when you look it up on tanks.gg. What about if Wargaming would decide to nerf that space from 380 to 300? Or even to 50? Because if we do that, what exactly will happen? Something very, very, very simple. What is going to happen is that your gun is not, or excuse me, you cannot hide your weak spot anymore. Because obviously, yes, you're going to hide your cupola weak spot, which is very weak. However, you are showcasing another new weak spot to the enemy, because obviously if you elevate your gun, you see displayed down below a lot more. And I think that would already make playing against the Kranvagn a lot more bearable, because again, that is the main issue the Kranvagn has. It's basically go hold down, win. So I think rather than destroying the gun handling, making the tank frustrating to play, I would say Wargaming should leave the gun handling nerfs, but give both tanks, the Emil and the Kranvagn, this weak spot underneath the gun. Then it might be more playable and more fun. Let's go to the AMX M4 line, and first about the tier 9 and the tier 10 tank. I think it is a good idea what the the buffs are going for. I always think better gun handling makes the tanks more fun to play. I'm not sure about the DPM. I still think the tier 10 doesn't really need more DPM on the 130mm gun, but hey, we'll take it, you know. And for the 120mm gun, more DPM is also really nice. More side armor is also nice. It allows you to side scrape a little bit better and do not need to focus too much on getting overmatched. Because yes, you can get overmatched even by smaller caliber guns. There is the rule which is for 2 times caliber, which gives you better normalization. So 60mm, everything above 120mm has better normalization against the side armor of the AMX M4, meaning you get penetrated very easily in the side. So, however, there's one thing which I don't like about the changes. Those changes are not really going to change the fact that the tier 9 tank tier 4 tier is still a lot better than the tier 10. Mainly because the tier 10 only gets an upgrade in alpha, if you take the big gun, and whole armor, and hit points obviously, the normal stuff. However, the turret is literally copy-paste. They took the control key, and I'm not going to pull up my C and W V key, but yeah, they're just copy-pasted. And that's a little bit of annoying. I hope that Wargaming would consider giving the AMX M4 on the cheeks of the gun, because the duckbill gun mantlet is 300mm flat thick. That is not enough. So here is why I think Wargaming should introduce more armor on the tier 10 turret. So this beak is not 300mm, but maybe like 320 or even 350. I know this sounds a little bit hypocritical, especially after I just said, yo, the Kranvagn should get some nerfs. However, the main thing is that the AMX M4 does not have cupolas, which it can just easily hide. They are big, they're there, they're always there, you can't really hide them except for going completely perfectly hold down and even over angling, then you can hide them, but they're huge, they're there, so yeah. The thing is though, usually you would always go for the gun mantlet anyway, because it's an easier to hit the target, it's bigger, especially when it is rolled down. When you shoot heat rounds which are 340mm of pen, 320, it doesn't matter, it goes through in 70% of the cases anyway. So I think that might be a decent buff for the AMX M4. However, again, giving less weak spot might not be the best idea. By the way, link down below where you can give your feedback to Wargaming, and we'll see how it goes. Moving on to the tier 7 and the tier 8 tank. Tier 8 tank's main issue is obviously its atrocious gun handling, atrocious DPM, and atrocious mobility. Sadly enough, Wargaming is not looking at the mobility. I hope Wargaming is going to give it better soft stats on the move to make it actually able to move around on the battlefield. I like the gun handling buffs, I like the DPM buff, and that's okay. It is an underperforming vehicle, it's trash. Skillful 2 hates it. Basically everybody does. And the AMX M4 is getting some armor buffs. The effective armor, I assume, goes from like 150 to almost 200 on the hull. And the turret armor frontally goes from 100 to 200. That is a massive buff, plus a little bit more hit points. However, don't forget the AMX M4 still has poor DPM, poor gun handling. So the tier 7 tank still might not be that good. Also, it really depends if it is actually proper armor on the AMX M4 or if it is just, you know, random armor. Like if it's just effective armor, but not nominal armor. We'll see. And lastly, there are some more things. Wargaming also noticed that there are some ideas which they want to continue on balancing. They want to balance the American heavy tank line. If they're going to buff or nerf them, we don't really know yet, except for the T29, which is most likely going to get a nerf because it's overperforming. However, M103, T32, M6, T1, T6 medium, and the M3 Stuart, as well as the M44, are going to get changed, with the M44 getting a nerf. Stupid artillery, but okay, it's a nerf for artillery, I take it. I'm surprised. I don't know if the T32 is going to get nerfed or buffed. The same with the M103. I do think that both are good vehicles at the moment, but I wouldn't consider them overpowered. And for low tier, I don't know. I know the T6 medium is kind of overpowered as far as I know. But there are also some more other things. We know that the KV-1S, the EC8, the Type 58, the TVP VTU, the AMX AC Tier 8 and the AMX AC Tier 7 French tank destroyers are all going to get buffed. That is amazing. I really do hope the TVP VTU is going to get an autoloader like the tier 9 and the tier 10 tanks, so it makes a little bit sense in the grand scheme of logic behind the tanks. But we'll see. Also good to see that the AMX is getting a buff. It's not a good tank. It is a capable tank in theory, but the gun is just atrocious. And the armor is non-existent, so we'll see where we go there. And the AC8 is getting a buff, and funnily enough, the KV-1S, which is kind of funky if you imagine the KV-1S used to be one of the most broken tier 6 tanks in the game. Yeah, however, we also are getting nerfs. The Skoda T25 on tier 6, the Boogie, CS44, the BDR-G1B East Kinder Egg, T67, T40, SC76 and SU85B. Skoda T25 was to be expected, it's very strong. The Boogie, I'm surprised, but I guess the 300 alpha gun, which is gold only spam, is kind of strong. The CS44, that one surprised me, because I don't consider that tank to be incredibly overpowered. I just know that it kind of leads nice into the current meta, where you want to have a high alpha gun, which it can provide. Then the BDR-G1B, I don't know why it gets a nerf. T67 was to be expected. So many low tier stats padders are abusing the tank and stomping seals with it, so that's fair. T40, I don't know. Su-76, I don't know. SU-85B, I don't know. I can't tell you. Overall, I like that Wargaming is making changes. I like that. And I think it is very, very important. Still, I think all of you are agreeing with that, Wargaming should also change reward vehicles. The Chieftain and the 279 need to get changed. We need to make the meta a little bit more interesting. Also, one thing which I didn't talk about is the VZ55. The VZ55 definitely also deserves a nerf. However, I guess Wargaming wants to wait a little bit longer before the VZ55 gets nerfed. One final thing though is, and this is very important, I do hope that Wargaming is starting to update and rebalance vehicles on a lot quicker basis. Again, I wish quarterly to get bigger rebalances, not yearly. That makes no sense. Why? Because Wargaming needs to try and make the people, the players, learn that their favorite tanks might not always stay their favorite tanks. Because at the moment we have the issue of a lot of people which are literally crying and crying worse than I do, where they're saying, oh my god, my favorite tank now gets nerfed, yeah, fuck you, Wargaming. Or, oh my god, now I grinded a year for getting a tank that obviously now when I'm getting it, it gets nerfed. That's so unfair. This fucking greedy ass company which is so unfair. I'm not sure how often this happens in the English section, but it's a German problem. Like, seriously, the amount of people in the German community crying about with this argumentation. Whew, seriously, my blood pressure rises when I see this, because it's the dumbest argumentation I've ever heard. But yeah, I do hope that Wargaming is going to do a lot more balancing now. Most likely the biggest issue was that Wargaming had to completely, well, since the beginning of the year, had to completely abandon the Russian sector and the Belarusian sector and move their whole development team to Prague and other Western nations. And we'll see how this is leading that. And probably they wanted to change earlier those changes, those feedbacks and rebalancing, but they couldn't because there was some person deciding it's wartime, not Morbin time. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this more personal approach on those videos, and we'll see you in another video, because there's a lot more content coming, maybe also some more on my War Thunder channel, which might even introduce some historical aspects, so keep an eye out for that one. In any case, my name is RagingRaptor, thanks so much for watching, and I see you around. Cheers!